Culturally Clueless.
Her name was Renee Nicole Good, the 37-year-old three-times mom the ICE agents fatally shot in Minnesota, and everybody is rightfully outraged. The judge dealing with Netanyahu's corruption case is dead. He died due to a motorcycle accident. With that said, welcome to Culturally Clueless and Salam Alaikum.
People talking loud, everybody's got a tape. Scrolling through the headlines, don't know what's real or fake. Late night conversations, what's the truth we chase? World keeps changing pace, but we're all in the race.
All right, you guys, I'm back. Salam, salam, salam. And I hope all of you are doing good. What was that? Oh, yeah, I can't. All of you are doing great. Okay, so my laptop is tripping again. Of course, why not? Like, literally, why not? Anywho, thank you for all the lovely comments, and I hope you guys know I'm back. If not, then tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, or tell anyone, when everyone you can. And I'm trying to get my notes here while I'm trying to talk to you guys. I'm all over the place. Why? Because vertigo. That's all I can say. Literally vertigo today. Anyhow, I know you guys told me to talk about my trip, and I might do that just a little bit in the next episode though, so I can maybe gather some videos or pictures to show you guys. Let's see. I'm not promising anything, okay? Let's dive straight in and talk about the first week in January. So many crazy things happened, but let's start with Zohran Mamdani, the new mayor of New York, who was elected with millions and millions of votes. The youngest mayor in a very, very long time in NYC. So he was sworn in. Let's take a look.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the State of New York.
The Constitution of the State of New York.
And the Charter of the City of New York.
And the Charter of the City of New York.
And that I will faithfully discharge.
And that I will faithfully discharge.
The duties of.
The duties of.
The office of.
The office of.
The Mayor of the City of New York.
The Mayor of the City of New York.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
He was sworn in on two different Qur'ans because there were two different type of ceremonies, right? There was one where he was sworn in by just, as a formal, I think, ceremony. That's the thing that we're watching now. Let's take another look.
Discharge.
And that I will faithfully discharge.
The duties of.
The duties of.
The office of.
The office of.
The Mayor of the City of New York.
The Mayor of the City of New York.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor.
And then there is the other ceremony, the public one, the official one, where New York witnessed the official ceremony. Okay, I'm so sorry, you guys. Okay, let's take a look at this one here, though.
I stand before you, moved by the privilege of taking this sacred oath, humbled by the faith that you have placed in me, and honored to serve as either your 111th or 112th mayor of New York City. But I do not stand alone. I stand alongside you, the tens of thousands of you gathered here in Lower Manhattan, warmed against the January chill by the resurgent flame of hope. I stand alongside countless more New Yorkers watching from cramped kitchens in Flushing and barbershops in East New York.
And you guys, if we know something about Zohran Mamdani by now, is that he is mad charismatic and he knows how to use it. And when he held his speech, once again, he quoted the legends of New York. And one of the speeches, when I think it was his, when he was elected, when he said, turn the volume up, that was him quoting Kiss One. Now this time he quoted Jadakiss. So yes, he knows how to appeal to New Yorkers, all kind of New Yorkers, like, how he says the hardworking ones, the ones where they dragging their legs or whatever he's saying. Like, he knows how to address everyone, and that makes it very personal. So people feel addressed personally, because New York is a fast city. There's all kind of like different races and ethnicities. There's all kind of like different people. He mentions their jobs. He mentions what they're doing, which makes it really personal and gives like a clear picture of New York. Like, he knows how to paint the picture, and whoever his speech writer is, I mean, not saying that he's not doing it himself or he's not participating, but whoever the team with writing the speeches, are they doing an excellent job. Like, when it's what I said, like when Obama came into power, he was mad charismatic as well. We believed that whole shebang, and then we learned a crazy lesson, a very sad and disappointing lesson. I am very curious to see what this is going to bring. I really hope that it will bring actually a very much needed change. And if New York can do it, like that's what they say, like if you can do it in New York, or if New York can do it, then it's possible everywhere, right? That's what I learned, at least. So it's absolutely crazy. He knows how to make it personal. He knows how to do it. And what can I say? It's the beginning of a new era for New York, and I'm really, really, really on the edge of my seat watching what's going to happen. He already did a few things, and changed a few things around. Like, people are now, or companies, agencies, whatever, are now allowed to boycott Israel again. It's not deemed as anti-Semitic, at least not in New York. But of course, the public and legacy media does not want people to know this. People can protest, and freedom of speech is slowly returning. So there is a few things that he's already put in place, very promising. We stay watching. We definitely stay watching. Okay. Let's move on. You guys, you wanted me to talk about Venezuela. And we're going to talk about Venezuela. Just get ready. It's going to be a long one. So if you need to pause because you need to get something to drink or whatever, go and get it done now. Okay? Like now. Because it's going to be, I think, the longest topic here today. Okay, let's get it started. Before we get into what's going on in Venezuela, I want to go a little bit back, and we're going to talk about the Monroe Doctrine. Okay, this is a doctrine that's about 200 years old, and in 1834, President James Monroe brought this doctrine to life. What does this doctrine say? It says that basically it was to the Europeans at that time. Okay, he was telling the Europeans, mind your own fudging business and stay out of Central and South America. Okay, you're not to come here. You're not to recolonize countries again, because as we know, France, Spain, the Netherlands, they all had like colonized countries in South and Central America. Okay, so he was like, you stay over there, okay, and worry about your countries and your lands and places, and we're over here doing our thing. Okay, so you guys are not to come over. That is what the Monroe Doctrine basically said. Now, in 1904, there was a whole different president, Theodore Roosevelt, and he took it up a notch. He changed it, because now he said the US can intervene and the US can get involved militarily, okay, to ensure security and stability, but also to ensure the interests of the US. You guessed it, right? They're like superpower. They understood back then they needed to establish themselves as a superpower from the beginning. I mean, this is when America was, I think, founded. It was founded on this kind of like condition as well, okay? Because they haven't left anything undone to achieve this from then until now, okay, starting with the indigenous people of the Americas until now. And by the way, the indigenous people, as much as they are doing much better, but there's still things going on, and I don't need to talk to you guys about generational trauma, but that's again a different story. Now back to the Monroe Doctrine that was, as I said, updated and elevated in 1904 by Roosevelt. So the US started mixing and battling in the South American and Central American countries. And basically, it is exactly what is happening now. And according to the president of the United States, right, he said they superseded the Monroe Doctrine in every way. And this is now why it's becoming, or it became, you guessed it, the Monroe Doctrine. Okay, it literally became the Monroe Doctrine. That's what he's saying, right? I don't know if it's literally on papers officially or if he was just saying that. But if you want to go and look for it, I should have put the clip here. But oh man, I should have put the clip here, but I just didn't. Okay, so there is definitely, he elevated it some more, because what he's saying is that this is not exclusive to South America and Central America anymore. When we think and look at how much he's been whining about owning Greenland and how much Greenland is important and necessary for America's security and stability, I mean, you guys, if you didn't know, Greenland is the largest island. It is really huge. I think on the one side, and it's in the water, so it's not like where there's land next to land. Okay, so on the one side there's Europe with Iceland, on the other side there is Canada. Now he wants that because it is very strategic, right? And he's basically saying that the Danish can't do it. They're a joke, basically. He's calling them a joke, okay? Greenland also has natural resources, gas, oil, and so on. It's just very, very, very difficult to dig for it and get it out. Why? Because most of Greenland is ice. Okay, I think there's 56,000 Greenlanders, right? They're called the Inuits, who are living on the coast side where it is a little bit warmer. But I think their summers are like, oh my gosh, like what, 5-10 degrees Celsius? How much is 5 degrees Celsius? It's definitely minus in Fahrenheit. I'll tell you that much, okay? Now that we established this, right? We established the Monroe Doctrine. Let's talk about what is actually happening now. Let's listen to Trump and how he explains what went down in Caracas when they captured Maduro. But keep in mind, this is the version they want to share with the public.
Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolás Maduro to justice, but captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have
you guys, it's so funny how this guy, right, is ready in his night tag, trackies and whatnot, like cool and like yeah, and so on. It's just like wild. Like, mind you, if you, no matter who you are, the fact that they came in, and I know how they explain it, there are so many videos how they explain detail. He never detailed something, and there were never as many videos on capturing someone than this guy here. So to me, it all sounds like the Hunger Game. The whole thing in the world sounds like the Hunger Game. It's a game. Okay. That's how it sounds to me. That's all I'm saying, right? I haven't stated my opinion. Disclaimer here. I have not stated my opinion. A lot of the times it sounds like I'm stating my opinion, but you guys. Anyhow, so this Nike tracksuit went viral, and people are trying to get hold of it, but let's watch some more.
Indicted in the Southern District of New York. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country. Very importantly, the embargo on all Venezuelan oil remains in full effect. The American...
So you guys say the embargo remains and how the U.S. is going to run the country. It's very, very interesting how they say in this, right? Like, let's watch a little bit more.
Armada remains poised in position, and the United States retains all military options until United States demands have been fully met.
The U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, you know, they always say boots on the ground. Oh, so we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it.
Are you saying that Secretary Hegseth and Rubio are going to be running Venezuela, and will you be sending in U.S. military troops to provide?
Team that's working with the people of Venezuela to make sure that we have Venezuela right. Because for us to just leave, who's going to take over? I mean, there is nobody to take over. You have a vice president who's been appointed by Maduro, and right now she's the vice president, and she's, I guess, the president. She was sworn in as president just a little while ago. She had a long conversation with Marco, and she said, we'll do whatever you need. I think she was quite gracious, but she really doesn't have a choice. We're going to have this done right.
So they're not afraid of putting boots on the ground because that's what they have done when they captured him. And also what they're saying is they're doubling down on a team out of the U.S. and the Venezuelan people, whoever these people are. Remember, like in Gaza, it was the technocrat Palestinians. This time they call them the Venezuelan people. Yeah, but let's say this. Delcy Rodriguez, who is the VP to Maduro, she is the interim president for now. We're going to talk about her in a second, a little bit longer. I mean, she said she's willing to work with the U.S., but what choice does she really have? And they clearly say that. But now let's move over to the part when Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, his son, and 3 top lieutenants were transported to the court building.
Maduro is currently being loaded into an armored truck there by federal forces, where he will then be taken for his first court appearance, which is expected to happen around noon Eastern time.
We watched within the last 15 or 20 minutes as Nicolás Maduro, the deposed former leader of Venezuela, and his wife Celia Flores were taken from an armored car to another vehicle where they were transported to a helipad, flown.
So it was a packed courtroom, I should say. Okay, and no cameras allowed, plenty people, like all the officials, the agents, the prosecution team, the people like officials from the government and state officials, police, everyone. They brought him in shackles, right? The hands were free, but they were shackled at the feet. And there were 7 overflow courtrooms. What that means is when the courtroom is packed, they have other rooms where they put like other people, whoever needs to be there or wants to be there, they put them there so they can watch what's going on in the main room over a monitor. Now they are saying when Diddy's case went down, they had like 2 to 3 overflow rooms. This time they had 7.
Flown by helicopter to the Wall Street helipad, and now we're in the process of being taken here to the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. The expectation it's going to take several hours to process them. In terms of the charges that Maduro is facing, so first of all, it's Maduro, Celia Flores, his son, and 3 other top lieutenants, although we believe it is just going to be Maduro and his wife in court today. Not exactly clear the status of the other people that were indicted.
His wife says she had bruises, and that's why. So now they are going for x-rays and everything. He came in wishing everybody a new year, like, like doing this whole stardom thing, like Happy New Year, I'm the president of Venezuela. It's so funny. Like, he stated it a few times also when the judge asked him. But now let's talk about the interim minister slash VP, Delcy Rodriguez. So her dad was very much into politics, so she kind of like grew up in this environment. She was very, or is very, I don't know how things can change overnight, as you guys know. She's very loyal to Maduro, and she actually said he is the rightful president of the country, but she's willing to work with the US. That's what she stated in a later post on Instagram. She's the first female president in the country, okay, or even on presidential levels, I should say, even like vice president, okay. And yeah, this is very interesting. Well, let's watch some more.
Interim President Delcy Rodriguez has taken the place of her ally, President Nicolás Maduro, in Venezuela. Maduro was captured by the US in a nighttime military operation. Rodriguez served as Maduro's vice president since 2018, overseeing much of Venezuela's oil-dependent economy and its intelligence service. President Donald Trump said that Secretary of State Marco Rubio had been in contact with Rodriguez and that she would work with the American government. But in a televised address, Rodriguez gave no indication that she would cooperate with Trump. And
so at the moment, at least, Trump ousted Maria Corina Machado, whatever her name is, that woman that won the Nobel Peace Prize last year and dedicated it to Trump, the one from the opposition, the one that is gang with Netanyahu, that Maria. Okay, I think she wanted to become president, but apparently Trump said now that she is not basically she's not like I don't know what, like credible enough or whatever, like for the people. She's not famous enough or known enough or liked enough, whatever this is, right? So she's kind of like been quiet for the past weeks, and I say this again, this is what Trump is saying now. Again, this guy can say something 1 minute and change it next, because this is what I'm saying. Hypocrisy is real, and get with it. That's all I can say. I wouldn't be surprised if Delcy Rodriguez, gets dismissed and Maria comes in, okay? And what I find funny though, like they keep saying this, oh, he's a dictator in drugs and blah, blah, blah. And he is not an illegitimate president. He wasn't illegitimately elected. It's just funny. If he was not elected, right? Like if the elections were not clean, how was Delcy Rodriguez, the VP, how was that a clean election? Like, it's these small details that a lot of people keep missing, okay? And the US gave her also a whole list of demands that she has to basically accomplish, okay? And before they can start selling the oil in this whole oil business with Venezuela. We're gonna get into it now because it's ridiculous how crazy it actually is, okay? So they on the list, it says, for example, to kick out Russia and China, okay? And Iran, of course. Okay, so there is a relationship with China and Venezuela. China has been investing, how they do, like in Africa, for example, and in many other places where they have trade deals with the countries, like major trade deals, and they have major investments in infrastructure and so much more, right? Russia helps Venezuela with military support. So they don't want this, and they want basically Venezuela to cut ties with Cuba, with China, with Russia, and with Iran. Okay, this is definitely on the list, and they only want to prioritize the US when it comes to the oil business, and only do deals with the US, basically, especially also for the crude oil. Okay, and this is what they're currently having the blockade on. That's what they currently seizing and sanctioning. Okay, so let's get into what they said about the oil.
Number one, we're not taking their oil. We're not taking their oil. We have put a blockade on and prevented them from selling their oil. That's choked off cash flow. They get cash from selling oil and from selling drugs and from human trafficking. So we choked off their revenue sources to get leverage over them. We're going to restart the selling of Venezuelan oil.
As you guys can see, it's so big on the oil. It's crazy. Like the whole drug business. I mean, come on. He pardoned the Honduran president, Juan Hernandez, and who brought 400 tons into the US. But this whole drug business is a whole different story, right? All I say is one word: the crack era. Okay, Ronald Reagan and before. Now, all they care about is cutting their money. So let's listen to some more of this nonsense.
On global crude markets, put it into counts in the name of Venezuela, and bring those funds back into Venezuela for the benefit of the Venezuelan people. We're just going to control the flow of those funds so we have leverage over the people in power to drive them in a better direction.
So it's very important, you guys, to pay attention to this. They are saying once the blockade is lifted, right, if they adhere to all of these demands on the list, they can continue selling the oil again, right? These seized ships, we're going to get into that also in a second about the ships, but I just want to say, did you guys hear? And the marker is on, it's going to benefit the Venezuelan people, okay? But let's listen to some more of what the U.S. had to say from a different source.
How exactly is that going to work? You're getting it out of Venezuela into the United States?
Yes.
And then what?
That's exactly right. So as you know, Ed, as the president announced last night, this was the sanctioned oil that was basically just sitting in barrels, sitting on ships because of the effective quarantine of the United States of America. And the interim authorities have agreed to release that oil to the United States, so it will be arriving here at home very soon. The United States government has already begun marketing Venezuela.
So yes, the sanctioned oil is sitting on ships, right? And there were 2 ships, from what I know, that were seized. The Marinara in the North Atlantic that was carrying oil, and the ship, there was a Russian flag on the ship. It was registered this way to bypass the sanctions, okay? And this is what the U.S. say and claim that allegedly this is the lifeline for Hezbollah. This is how nicely they mixed them in there. And then there is Sophia. Sophia was seized in the Caribbean. It was carrying crude oil, and it was under the Camerooni flag. Well, these are what the sanctions are on. So you guys see, it was never about the drugs. It was always about the oil. And what they also saying is that the interim authorities, like Delcy Rodriguez, greenlit this whole mission to continue selling the oil. That's
getting Venezuelan crude oil in the global marketplace for the benefit of the United States, engage the world's leading commodity marketers, key banks to execute and provide financial support for these crude oil and crude product sales. All proceeds from the sale of Venezuelan crude oil and products will first settle in U.S.-controlled accounts at globally recognized banks to guarantee the legitimacy and integrity of the ultimate distribution of proceeds, and those funds will be dispersed for the benefit of the American people and the Venezuelan people at the discretion.
This is the important part, right? The U.S. is controlling the funds. Okay, international banks, known banks, but the US is controlling the funds. And this is going to benefit the American, oopsie, Mike, sorry, I didn't mean to, just get a little crazy sometimes. The American people and the Venezuelan people, oh my God. Oh my God. I hope you guys paid attention to this. Now this whole madness continues. This was a little bit earlier. There was a UN Security Council meeting, and Jeffrey Sachs held a speech. And Jeffrey Sachs, boy, he comes with facts when it comes to so many different issues. He always brings facts. He brings dates. He brings examples. He brings history. He brings it all. Let's listen.
I now give the floor to Mr. Jeffrey Sachs.
Mr. President, distinguished members of the Security Council, the issue before the Council today is not the character of the government of Venezuela. The issue is whether any member state, by force, coercion, or economic strangulation, has the right to determine Venezuela's political future or to exercise control over its affairs.
And he makes it very clear. It's about what the US is doing, not what this man is doing. Right? Like the US, like, how is this? Everybody can come somewhere and say, this person is a dictator. This person is not rightful. This person is bad. This person is this and that. Right? And I'm not saying, I understand, like I heard from Venezuela that Maduro is also bad, but not as bad as, right? And this is not about, comparison or anything. It's about how things are done. Okay, how things are done. A country coming in somewhere and intervening and basically taking over their whole business and the whole money source and lifeline is insane to me. Anyways, let's listen to some more.
Over its affairs. This question goes directly to Article 2, Section 4 of the United Nations Charter, which prohibits the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state. The Council must decide whether that prohibition is to be upheld or abandoned. Abandoning it would carry consequences of the gravest kind. Let me offer some background. Since 1947, the United States foreign policy has repeatedly employed force, covert action, and political manipulation to bring about regime change in other countries.
I love how he's talking about manipulation, how he's talking about bringing a regime change, and how this has been going on for a very, very long time. He's very direct and he absolutely nailed it, right? He gives numbers, he states facts, when this happened, what happened, which government, when, and where. So when he comes down on them, he comes down on them. Okay, and this is the crazy part. They're all complaining about this happening without the authorization by Congress, right? Them going in there and capturing him. He's talking, Jeffrey Sachs, that is, he's talking about the regime change in Libya, Honduras, Iraq, and naming some other countries. And, you know, so let's listen some more.
About regime change in other countries. This is a matter of carefully documented historical record. In her book, Covert Regime Change, political scientist Lindsay O'Rourke documents 70 attempted U.S. regime change operations between 1947 and 1989 alone. These practices did not end with the Cold War. Since 1989, major United States regime change operations undertaken without authorization by the Security Council have included among the most.
And I also loved how he mentioned how the public is being manipulated. This is something very, very, very important. How he's talking about social media being used, you know, to kind of like talk about and twist stories around this, right? And he's talking about the illegal measures of how these things happen, you know, causing violence, causing suffering, and so much more. Venezuela and the US have been at it for many years, right? And now Trump is threatening other countries, so they are also kind of on edge, not knowing what's going to happen, right? When we look at Mexico, we look at Colombia, and again, he wants Greenland. Oh, you guys, I don't know what to say. All I say is vertigo. Today is not my day. Now we're moving to Somalia. We talked about Somalia last week, and I want to state this. I'm just sharing what I know and what I found out and what I'm learning. I haven't fully made an opinion yet, but what I made an opinion on is one thing. The occupational state of Israel recognizing Somaliland is a no-go. And this is how the African Union felt as well. Allegedly, they went crazy. They went crazy. They didn't like it. And they also didn't like when the Israeli foreign minister, Gideon Sachs, came to visit. Let's watch.
Your presence here today demonstrates leadership, confidence in the future of our relations. It sends a strong message that Somaliland and Israel are ready to deepen engagement and move decisively toward the establishment of diplomatic infrastructure.
As I said, the African unions didn't like it. They sound retarded, both of them, I'm not gonna lie. Now I'm giving my opinion. Let's watch somewhere.
Infrastructure.
We agreed on the mutual appointment of ambassadors and the opening of embassies. We will get that done soon. We agreed to work together to promote relations between our countries for the sake of mutual prosperity. We want to build an enduring and warm friendship, not only between governments, also between the people of Somaliland and the people of Israel.
And that's what Jeffrey Sachs is talking about, this whole twisting things and making things sound and seem a certain way. And of course, to somebody who does not know how to pay attention to the little things, how to pay attention to language, somebody who's not willing to research beyond the surface, yes, they're going to fall for it. They're going to fall for it. It's all about the advantages, right? Let's watch what these so-called foreign minister had to say. There's a little bit more.
Unlike Palestine, Somaliland is not a virtual state. It's a functioning state. Somaliland is a fully functioning country based on the principles of international law.
What a comparison to draw, you guys. What a comparison to draw. Listen to this part.
International law. Somaliland is and has been a stable democracy for nearly 35 years. It has democratic elections, most recently in November 2024, and peaceful transitions of power. It's pro-Western and friendly to Israel.
Of course, there was a lot of backlash because they're saying, why did they not recognize Palestine, but they recognize Somaliland when Somaliland just moved away from Somalia in 91? And what's going on with that? And he's stating, oh, at least Somaliland is a full-blown state doing democratic deals and acting in a democratic way, unlike Palestine. Well, if you occupy a place, clearly it's not going to be able to act like a state, right? Like, come on. This is insane. And as much as Somaliland is acting independently, they're still considered Somalia's territories. Okay, you guys, we need to talk about Iran as well. So there's protests been happening in Iran. They have 31 provinces and protests erupted in 23. they are not the biggest protests to erupt in Iran, to be honest. There were bigger ones when it was about, for example, I think Mahsa Amini, when she was brutally assassinated by the government because of her outspokenness, you know, and who she was and what she did. You know, this regime is a little bit on the heavy side of things, not condoning this whatsoever. This is purely about the economy, right? People are not able to afford things like food and stuff like that anymore because the Iranian rial is losing to the dollar. So let's check this out.
Iran is on edge. Protests in the country have now entered their second week, and what began as an economic outcry is slowly turning into a political test for Tehran. The protest erupted late in December 2025. The trigger was Iran's collapsing currency.
You guys now love this, how the Ayatollah says the protests are rightful, but the rioters needs to be stopped because there's no way, Jose, for violence. Let's watch some more.
And hundreds have been detained. Security forces have been deployed across major cities, and clashes have been reported almost every day. It's a tricky one for Iran's leadership, and their response has been mixed. An acknowledgement of people's hardships, but also a warning against protests. Their so-called supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, says the complaints are just and that the authorities should speak to the protesters. But he has also drawn a red line. Khamenei says the rioters must be, and I'm quoting, the rioters must be put in their place.
Now, according to people on the ground, they're saying, yes, the government is on edge because of all the other threats, let it be from the US, let it be from Israel. You know, we're not going to forget the 12-day war that just happened, what, half a year ago. So, yes, the government is on edge. There's definitely certain things that need to be considered and done and whatever they're doing. But this, the government, the leadership is not weak. It's not going to oust the leadership. It's not going to topple it. It's not going to happen. And as I said, they're saying basically that these erupted protests are just because of the economy, and they have been granted per person $7. I know it sounds crazy. You'd be like, what am I doing with $7? But mind you, the currency is very different there. Like if the real is so weak and lost even more so to the dollars, I think $7 is a little but nice help, you know, to begin with at least. So it definitely is supposed to soften the situation and calm it. And this is very good considering all the sanctions that are placed on Iran by the US, considering everything else that they're going through at the moment. But once again, the people on the ground, at least from my knowledge, they are ready to resist when there is a war coming their way. But yeah, they're not really feeling their government maybe, but not as like it's not as bad as people make out in that sense when it comes to losing their country or losing their country's good to anyone. And since we're talking about this, let's move straight to the West Bank because they're losing on a very big scale. The IDF decided to be the IDF like they are 24/7, 365, right? And they stormed the university. Check this out.
Well, just when people thought that the Israeli forces have withdrawn from inside the campus of Birzeit University, they've seen more Israeli troops and more Israeli military re-entering the campus again, spreading terror and chaos and panic among students. As far as the people who are responsible for the administration inside the university tell us, this is the first time that the Israeli forces raid classes while students are inside taking their education seriously. As you know, Palestinians rely on education a lot amidst a very difficult economic reality. So it's a very, very important aspect of Palestinians' lives. And now to see Israeli forces attacking not only with tear gas, but also with live ammunition, causing injuries among students. We understand that at least 3 of them were injured too with live ammunition. That also contributes to the state of panic that Palestinians go through, even if we are talking about students in a university peacefully demonstrating in solidarity with Palestinian prisoners and peacefully also screening or trying to screen a movie that talks about the Israeli killing of the Palestinian child, Hind Rajab, in Gaza. This is also an escalation when it comes to the Israeli raids to the campus itself. We've seen the Israeli forces raid day in and day out Palestinian city towns. We've seen
So it's really interesting, right, how they are protesting peacefully, protesting about the treatment of the Palestinian hostages behind Israeli bars, right? We all know what's going on there. We've been talking about it, and we're going to continue to talk about it and shed light on it because it is very important. They also streamed the movie about Hind Rajab, the little girl that was killed with 300 shots by the IDF in Gaza last year when she was hiding in a car with her family members, some of them already assassinated. And with her, I don't know, was it her cousin or her sister? The teenage girl that was also then assassinated before she was, and she was talking to the Red Crescent, and there was this phone call, and they made a movie to shed some light on it. Yep, that's what the West Bank goes through, this whole psychological impact on these kids, on these students. They cannot do anything in peace. They're always on edge, always on edge. What a lifestyle. But yet they are the bad guys. Okay. So for the next thing, I don't know, like I laughed in the beginning when I saw this because I couldn't believe that this is real. And with all this AI content that people be putting out without even like fully marking it as AI or making it clear that it's AI. We always have to double, triple check now these days. You guys have no idea how many stories I picked up during the time, and then I went and I have to look and I'm like, oh my God, this is AI. I just can't. What a waste of time. Anywho, so what I'm talking about is Charlie Kirk. We haven't really talked much about Charlie Kirk here, let alone Erica Kirk, because I find this a very odd story, a very, very odd story, and I like to watch. I'm so curious how all of this is going to turn out. Like, you guys have no idea. Let's watch this. So this is AmFest, America Fest, right? This is a festival all about America by TP USA. This is the same event that Nicki Minaj sold out to. But well, I don't know. Did she sell out on that event? I mean, that was the public seeing her selling out. She sold out way before that, obviously, because you have to go that direction. Then they have to figure out if they want you. Clearly, they did want her. Yeah, so she had sold out before, but that's when she felt to share it with the public. And you guys, you know what? I posted this clip and I have like a comment. And the comment says, Nikki will never lose my support. She can believe whatever she wants. But I don't know. I hope you better be 12 years old. That's all I can say. Anyhow, back to Charlie. So that was the same event, right? Nikki was at. They have this recreated tent for Charlie fans to come and take selfies. This was approved by Elizabeth McCoy. She is a staff member of TP USA, like her husband, Michael McCoy. And obviously Erica had to approve of this. If Erica actually has a choice or not to approve on anything, or things happen regardless, no idea. But I think this is one of the most tastiest thing I've ever seen. And I wonder what would happen. Like, seriously, like imagine Charlie Kirk would come back for an hour and he sees and hears and feels and witnesses what they have been doing with his legacy after his death. First of all, this is the most tasteless and disgusting thing that I have come across in a very long time. Oh no. It doesn't, don't worry, guys. Do not worry. It doesn't pass or surpass the gross and disgusting and tasteless nature of the occupational states, right, around the world. No, it doesn't. I'm not saying that. But on a different level, right, this is really gross, disgusting. Somebody said in the comments gross, and I picked up this word since last week. So on the last episode, shout out to everybody who used the word gross. You definitely got me with that one. I've been using it since I read the comment. I don't remember like quite using it before, but hey, thanks for that. Now I don't know what to say. There is actually literally nothing to say. I just wanted to share it with you guys that there is no limit to when it comes to tasteless. Like, right? There's just like no limit. It's unlimited. It's not stopping. Every time I think the world is crazy, you guys prove me wrong. It's actually crazier. Okay. And for all those fans who actually took advantage of this opportunity, yeah, tasteless too. You guys are tasteless too. Who wants to take a selfie in a tent where somebody, or a recreated tent, it's not the same tent, obviously, but it was recreated. So it was like the same kind of like style, the same whatever. Who wants to take a selfie in a tent same to what your idol or whatever you want to call him was assassinated in? Disgusting. Okay, moving on to Gaza, more yet the Rafah crossing, the Rafah crossing. The Rafah crossing was closed for the past 2 years after they took great advantage of so many people in Gaza. You know, first you put a whole genocide on them, and you said bombing them from the sky, shooting them from wherever, and then, as that's not enough, you're going to charge them to flee. You want them out, but let's make them pay, right? Let's make them pay. So now everybody's talking about this. Angelina Jolie, the mother of charity, how they call her. I don't know why, because she's been doing a lot of charity. She's been outspoken. She's been doing things for a very long time, went to so many war zones and war-torn countries, went to so many places where poverty is king and all of that, you know what I mean? So Angelina Jolie went to the Rafah crossing. Remember, guys, that march that was supposed to take place last year, and then it was interrupted by the Egyptian authorities and stuff like that. Can you just simply go to the Rafah crossing? I don't know if it's so easy. I don't know if it's possible, but if you're Angelina Jolie, you're Angelina Jolie, right? Anywho, she went there. I think the fact that she did it at the beginning of this year, yep, like, I'm all for it if it's for the right reason. Sorry, I'm so doubtful. Sorry, I'm so mistrusting, but it is what it is with people. You can never trust the people that are close to you or supposedly close to you, let alone trusting people that you don't know. You know what I mean? So yes, we're going to take everything with a pinch of salt. Okay. With a pinch of doubt, I should say. So yeah, so if that is genuinely something she did because she stands behind what she says, I think it's amazing. So now that gave people a start, right? Like she put the first step. Now you guys need to make the next ones. And when I say you guys, I'm talking about all of these useless people that have big platforms and are not using it for the right reasons. Because as we talked about also last week, right, there are certain people who are not cancelable. Like, can we cancel Angelina Jolie? I don't know. Can we? Probably not. Okay. So now we cannot cancel a Beyonce, right? So if Beyonce was to speak up, Rihanna was to speak up, or any of these people were to say something, right, or speak up or help, okay? I don't like the girl, but Ariana Grande, she did some things. She did a couple of things, yeah. So since she can't be canceled, right, you don't care about these people. What you care about is to be liked, accepted by a different set of people, those who, you know, the different ones, the ones that are not standing on the side of humanity. So yes, the people in Gaza, a lot of them are unfortunately, but rightfully excited that the Rafah Crossing is opening.
This morning here in Gaza, there is a sense of cautious anticipation as people are reacting to reports that Rafah Crossing may open.
I hope to travel abroad, and I'm waiting for Rafah Crossing to reopen after it has been closed for more than 2 years.
Well, for many, this isn't about a travel, it's about survival. Parents are asking about medical access they haven't been able to obtain over the past 2 years. Students think of this as an opportunity to continue their education. And for many families, this is their opportunity to reunite with family members who have been separated.
As much as we don't want them to leave, as much as we want Gaza to stay Gaza and to belong to the Palestinian people who've been born there, who live there, who have been there for generations, and their ancestors have been there for generations. People are exhausted. They are starving. Let's take a look at some more of this footage.
Who have been separated for too long.
It's the dream of all students and myself that the crossing opens so we can continue our education.
But hope here is never simple. People heard about these announcements numerous times. Many recall how quickly the crossing shuts again. For other people, the reopening of the Rafah Crossing represents hope, represents a break in the isolation from siege that Gaza has been under for so long.
I was injured during the war and have been waiting for the crossing to open so I can have better medical care.
For now, people are waiting. They're watching it closely. If Rafah opens, it could become a lifeline. For now, hope remains fragile, measured, and cautious.
Take everything they have and their family members and their children and their parents to the point of no return. People want to go and leave because of medical need, because they are injured, they have diseases, they have illnesses from before, and they need help. And they're probably going to be charged for it again. That is low. Another story that I came across that I find very low as well is this.
Imagine this. Someone breaks into your house, steals your jewels, your family heirlooms, and your history. They put all of it in a glass case and sell tickets to the world to see it. Then decades later, they offer it back, but on a loan, and that too for just 36 months. Sounds ridiculous, right? Welcome to the British Museum. They have a new loan program. The plan itself is very simple. You see, the British Museum is a house of loot. They have artifacts from several former colonies. Now they want to loan to those same countries for up to 3 years.
Wow, you guys. Of course, museums are not going to make money from just like every now and then people coming in there to look at whatever goods they stole and are presenting in their display windows. Of course not. This is not enough money. So how do they make money? Of course, this way.
Take the Vrindavani Vastra, for example. This is a 16th century silk tapestry. It shows scenes from Lord Krishna's life. It was created under the guidance of an Assamese saint reformer. It depicts Lord Krishna's many forms, his childhood and his divinity. Centuries ago, these pieces traveled north towards Tibet, and they were picked up by British explorers there. Eventually, they landed in the British Museum's walls, and now they're going back to Assam. The British Museum has signed an agreement with the government of Assam.
And this just proves that occupation, colonialism has never really ended. This is crazy. Let's listen.
These pieces will be on display in Assam. But here's the catch. This is not a return of the Vrindavani Vastra. This is just a loan. Then you have the Amravati marbles. It's a collection of over 120 ancient limestone sculptures and inscriptions. They are from the Amravati Stupa in India. They too are in the British Museum. There's also the gilded bronze statue of Tara. It is one of the rarest artifacts from Sri Lanka. And where is it currently? You guessed it right. The British Museum. I could go on and on. The Rosetta Stone from...
And this is why supporting museums in the West is pointless. It's truly pointless. Because 99% of it is stolen goods from any country they colonized. It's like the trophies that they brought home. And now it's wild. I always talk about journalism, how I feel like, you know, like you have, there is a codex to it. Like when you're a journalist, right? You, most of the time, right? I want to say, I don't know how it is these days, but 99.9% of the time you become a journalist because you want to report on stories. You want to share with the world what's going on. You want to have voices heard that are not heard. You want to present the truth to the masses, right? And fundamental rights state that we have the right to journalism, to finding out, to knowing, right? This is what it is. So this is why something like that is, of course, very, very dear to me, very important, because I live by this, right? I live by this. Now, we have this woman saying this.
Hey guys, many of you know this, but for those of you who don't, I spent more than 15 years in mainstream media, ABC, CBS, you know, all the alphabet networks. And I want to talk about what's happening right now. Nick Shirley releasing that 42-minute video, the investigative report. It wasn't a clip. It wasn't just a hot take. 42 minutes of real reporting, interviews, documents, receipts, evidence. He interviews a man who's been investigating this for 9 years of legwork, okay? The video itself has now reached over 100 million views on X alone, okay? That's not considering YouTube and all the other outlets that he uses. Anyway.
So yes, she left legacy media because it was not serving her anymore. She was not allowed to be a journalist, how I said, because now they are giving you rules, different type of rules that you signed up for, very different type of rules. Sometimes it's to tell the opposite of what's really going on. Sometimes it's to twist the story just a little bit. Sometimes to make the things sound different than they truly are, right? And she's talking about how journalists are not allowed to do real work. Let's have a listen.
Anyway, so mainstream media, I've been thinking about this. So they finally pick up the story and they reduce it to one phrase. They go, a viral video, blah, 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 has exposed. But here's the thing. This is more than just a viral video. People rely on real journalism. Real journalism can change the trajectory of what's happening in real time. If you're mainstream media, your reach is supposed to be massive, right? And with that reach comes responsibility to hold elected officials responsible, those in power accountable. So mainstream media, what they did was they minimized Nick Shirley's report. Because if they...
Now, when she talks about this guy, right, that went viral with his video and his so-called investigation about the Minnesota kindergartens and whatever, I tell you this, I thought about it, and yes, as a citizen journalist, as an independent journalist, you can also twist and turn the truth and stories however you want. It's just interesting to me that these kind of things go viral when other people have other bigger stories, right? Maybe international, maybe global, I don't know. And they don't have that much traction. But this story got so much traction because what it was Somaliland, because the president has a problem with these people now and he doesn't want them in his country. At the same time when a different type of so-called state recognizes Somaliland. I mean, it sounds very convenient to me. But apart from all of this, right? And this is just alleged. I'm just wondering here, thinking out loud and sharing my thoughts with you guys. They've been pretty pissed with citizen journalism, right? Because we have been seeing certain things that they didn't want us to see on the ground. But had they really not wanted us to see that, they would have turned the internet off completely in certain places where there's a lot of journalists risking their lives on the ground showing us what's really going on. Yeah, something doesn't go according to plan or doesn't go right, you just get with it, and then it's damage control, and then it's troubleshooting. Okay. I just find it very interesting that this YouTuber comes, he gets all of this attention. And I'm just wondering how much truth is to all of this. Could it be that this is purposely put in place so that we can like bring another law in and basically say that independent journalists or citizen journalists have like no business reporting, investigating, stating, because that's what they wanted to do some time ago. I don't know if you guys know about this. They just wanted to have the big entities, the big platforms like the TV stations, radio stations, official radio stations to have channels on YouTube and social media, right? And we as the people, we can just watch. So I'm wondering if this is like part 2 of that plan. Just a thought. Not saying it's like that. Now I want to share something else with you guys, because I love psychology. I love to look at human behavior, and I have this thing where when I used to call myself very sensitive. Why? Because I cry easily when I feel bad for something or someone. I also cry, my God, what a confession, when I have certain arguments with people, even though I know I'm in the right and they know I'm in the right and everybody knows I'm in the right. I also cry about the smallest things. And I used to call myself sensitive. People call me, not used to call me, they still call me sensitive. People call me crybaby. Some of my friends make fun of me. And when I came across this video, it validated everything. I mean, it's something I knew, but when you say something, people who know you, they don't tend to listen. As soon as somebody else says it, they want it. That is so interesting. That is something that has been always happening to me. I can say stuff, people won't believe it, but now they pick it up from someone else, and now it's the truth. Goodness, it's so funny. So let's take a look.
People who cry during arguments or intense moments, even when they are not seriously hurt, are not overly sensitive. It's called emotional hypersensitivity. When this happens, your brain reacts not only to the situation, but to the intensity of the emotion. The amygdala, the part of the brain that detects threats, activates very quickly. For hypersensitive people, it's as if the volume of their emotions is turned up higher than normal. Tears are the nervous system's way of releasing that overwhelming activation.
See, you guys, that's what I'm saying. That is exactly what I'm saying. It's just an overload of emotions, and that's how I feel. I don't feel like sometimes I cry not only because I'm sad or because I'm hurt, right? Or whatever, or because I'm happy. Sometimes it's just tears because it's overload. Especially when you're an empath, you feel way too much. And when you're a hyper sensitive person, in the same of like HS person, you feel extremely. It's something that I don't know how to deal with because it affects me a lot and it impacts me a lot, and I try not to have it. That's why, like, I'm the type of person, I love being around people, but then I need my time to recover. And I'm not saying this in a bad way, but it's just like very intense, okay, to be around people because of so many different feelings, so many different little things that impact me, so many different, like it's a lot. So if you are like similar, don't take it as you're being insensitive. People want to call you sensitive, that's fine. They don't have no clue what they're talking about. I mean, that goes for the most part. I just always love it when people think they know you better than you know yourself, when people think they know everything better than anyone else, or they have the right answer to it. Don't fight them. Let it go. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And I love that. And this is something that I told myself as well. I don't do New Year's resolution whatsoever. But I told myself, you know what? I'm not going to mess with people like that. I'm not even going to pull up people for what they did and what I'm upset with or what I was disappointed with. It doesn't make a difference. People always have an excuse. People always have something to say. Okay, moving on from this, you guys. Moving on from this. I want to close out with something actually very beautiful. I never thought that I would see. Let's have a look.
Now, a mosque in Bradford has gone viral on TikTok after it started hosting Pilates classes for older men. A video posted by the Jamia Osmania Mosque has been watched 2 million times online. Kathy Minton has been to find out more.
Allahu Akbar.
Now, how cool is that? Tell me, how cool is that? Did anyone see this coming? Is this anywhere else? Does anyone have like a local mosque where they know this is taking place? Let's look at some more of this footage.
Prayers in mosque, a routine for spiritual well-being. But what of physical and mental health? Well, don't worry, this mosque has got that covered too.
1, 2, that's it. Keep it moving, yeah?
At the Jamia Osmania Mosque in Bradford, men come for the prayers and stay for the Pilates. Classes are intended for men over 50 and they're proving popular. So popular that this video on TikTok has had 2 million views.
I love how these men came out and they're like proudly sharing it, right? They're talking about how this is helping them physically and mentally and all walks of life, different ages. Okay, since I'm enjoying this so much, let's take another look.
Shocked, to be honest. It's gone worldwide. We've had nearly 2 million views on TikTok and a lot of views on Facebook as well. And we've had comments from as far as America and Indonesia and Malaysia. People asking, how do we do this in mosques across the world?
Beautiful, beautiful. I don't know, if you're like active in your local mosque or so, maybe you should suggest it because it's amazing. It's amazing for men and it's also amazing for women. And they want to establish a course for women as well, which I think is absolutely beautiful. So yes, you guys, take this as an inspiration. And if you are active or if you go regularly to your local mosque, and you should suggest it. It's something beautiful. It should be everywhere. Mosque, church, everywhere. Like literally, let's do something good for a change because clearly we all need it. Now, you guys, with that said, I need to get out of here. That's that for this week, okay? We talked about Venezuela, how you guys wanted. Sorry, I didn't engage in the comments. And yes, I adopted the word gross. Let's see how long I'm gonna use it before I forget about it. Thank you so much for being here. And I see maybe I can make it happen and talk about my travels next week. I'm still have not actually gone through all the pictures and videos. Some of it, the good ones I have, and some of them I'll probably do tomorrow, probably. But let's see. So yes, with that said, you guys, thank you so much. And I see you next week. Peace out. Salam alaikum.
Culturally clueless, but I'm trying to find answers in the chaos, peace inside.